Hi there. So we're going to start the book of Hebrews today. All right, Hebrews is a very interesting study. Not sure who wrote it. Maybe Paul, maybe not. And we will start with Chuck Swindoll's Insight for Living. He always has a great outline of these. So let's do that. Hey, who wrote the book? The author of the letter of Hebrews remains shrouded in mystery. Even early in the church's history, a Christian as learned as Origen had to admit his ignorance of the true author of Hebrews. Several theories regarding the author's identity have been proposed over the years, but all of them contain significant problems. Right. Most of the churches in the eastern part of the Roman Empire believe Paul to have authored the book, leading to its early acceptance into the canon by the churches in those areas. Even though Clement of Rome drew much from Hebrews in his late first century letter to the Corinthian church, many in the Western church pointed away from Paul as the source of the book. Authors such as Luke, Barnabas, Apollos, and even Clement have been considered as possibilities. The unknown authorship of this book should not shake our confidence in its authority. Hebrews makes important theological contributions to the biblical canon. It has been drawn upon as sacred scripture since the late first century, and Christians have for 2 millennia consistently upheld the divine inspiration and therefore the canonicity of the book of Hebrews, right? It is Bible, okay? There's some interesting things in it that we'll cover too. Okay, where are we? The strongly Jewish character of the letter to the Hebrews helps to narrow down its date of composition, most likely AD 64 to 69, right? Now, the one we just read yesterday was 60-61, so this is right after that. Significantly, the book makes no reference to the destruction of the temple at Jerusalem in AD 70, and the author writes as if the sacrificial system were still in existence, right? That's way over in Hebrews 10. With its myriad references to Hebrew customs in the Old Testament, this book was likely sent to a Jewish Christian community, possibly in Rome. Okay, and this was written to the Jews who were still practicing the Old Covenant, right? But there's still important stuff in it for us too, right? Yeah, why is it so important? Hebrews clearly lays out the present priestly ministry of Christ in the life of the believer. Jesus is both the divine Son of God and completely human, and in his priestly role, he clears the way for human beings to approach the Father in heaven through prayer. The priesthood of Jesus is superior to the Old Testament priesthood of Aaron, because only through Jesus do we receive eternal salvation. Furthermore, Jesus became the permanent and perfect high priest, going beyond all other priests by offering himself as a sinless sacrifice on behalf of the sins of human beings. Right? Okay, what's the big idea? Throughout its pages, Hebrews makes clear that Jesus, Christ, exceeds all other people, pursuits, objects, or hopes to which human beings offer allegiance. Hebrews pictures Jesus as better than the angels in bringing better lives to humanity through salvation, as offering a better hope than the Mosaic law could promise, as a better sacrifice for our sins than a bull or a goat, and as providing a better inheritance in heaven for those who place their faith in him. Right? Jesus is indeed superior to all others. Right? Absolutely. The message of the superiority of Jesus would have been particularly important to Jewish Christians in Rome who were struggling under Nero's persecution and were considering moving back toward the Mosaic law. The writer of the Hebrews showed these Jewish Christian believers that they were faced with suffering. Though they were faced with suffering, they were indeed following a better way, as they should persevere, right? Now, Rome had a lot of problems, like America now has lots of problems, right, and other countries. And Nero decided to blame it on the Christians, okay? He needed a scapegoat, so he used Christians as a scapegoat for his own horrible government, right? Okay, how do we apply this? The ancients created idols fashioned of wood and stone. Modern society has set aside that type of idol in favor of new idols. Idols of fancy gadgets, material wealth, comfortable lifestyle, and even our children. Human beings have seen and experienced the limitless bounty of idolatry. Where we place some created object or person in the place of the one true God. What idols do you hold dear in your life, right? The letter to the Hebrews makes clear that only one person deserves to hold the primary place in our lives. While we are busy in idolizing our move up the corporate ladder or placing all our hopes in our kids, Jesus offers a better position, a better priest, a better covenant, a better hope, and a better sacrifice. Only when we give Jesus his rightful place in our lives will everything else in life fall into its rightful place. There you go. Well, that's that. And these are kind of shorter chapters, so it'll be easier to go through and read it in both sides. And we're reading this in the 1599 Geneva, right? Let's see if they left anything out in the new ones. Okay. The Epistle to the Hebrews, chapter 1. The drift and end of this epistle is to show that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, both God and man, is that true, eternal, and only prophet, king, and high priest. All right. Okay. 1. There's a number 2 there. To show that the doctrine which is Christ brought, this is more. See, the 1599 Geneva has its own outline, okay? It starts down here, 1. At sundry times in the diverse manners good spake in the old time to our fathers by the prophets. In these last days he hath spoken unto us by his Son, right? Whom he hath made heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds, right? Jesus, the Word, right? Who being the brightness of the glory and the engraved form of his person, and bearing up all things by his mighty word, hath by himself purged our sins, and sitteth at the right hand of the majesty in the highest places. And is made so much more excellent by the angels, inasmuch as he hath obtained a more excellent name than they, right? Higher than the angels. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, Thou art my son, this day I begat I thee, and again, I will be his father, and he shall be my son. And again, when he bringeth in his first begotten Son into the world, he saith, And let all the angels of God worship him. All right. And of the angels he saith, He maketh the spirits his messengers, and his ministers a flame of fire. But unto the Son he saith, O God, thy throne is forever and ever. The scepter of thy kingdom is a scepter of righteousness. Thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Wherefore God, even thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. And thou, Lord, in the beginning hast established the earth, and the heavens are the works of thine hands. They shall perish, but thou dost remain, and they shall wax old as doth a garment. And as a vesture shalt thou fold them up, and they shall be changed, but thou art the same, and thy years shall not fail. Unto which also of the angels said he at any time, Sit at my right hand, till I make thine enemies thy footstool. Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for their sakes, which shall be heirs of salvation? Okay. Old language, guys, a little confusing. Let's read that over here, okay? In the Legacy Standard Bible. God, having spoken long ago to the fathers and the prophets in many portions and in many ways, in these last days spoke to us in his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, through whom also he made the worlds, who is the radiance of his glory and the exact representation of his nature, and upholds all things by the word of his power, who, having accomplished cleansing for sins, sat down at the right hand of the majesty on high, having become so much better than the angels, as he has inherited a more excellent name than they. Right. For to which of the angels did he ever say, You are my son, today I have begotten you? And again, I will be a father to him, and he shall be a son to me. And again, and when he again brings the firstborn into the world, he says, And let all the angels of God worship him. And of the angel, he says, who makes his angels winds, and his ministers a flaming fire. But of the Son, he says, Your throne, O God, is forever and ever, and the scepter of uprightness is the scepter of your kingdom. You have loved righteousness and hated lawlessness. Therefore, God, your God, has anointed you with the oil of gladness above your companions. And all these capitals is stuff that's mentioned elsewhere in the Bible, right? And you, Lord, in the beginning founded the earth and the heavens, and the works of your hands, they will perish, but you remain, and they will wear out like a garment, and like a mantle you will roll them up. Like a garment they will also be changed, but you are the same, and your years will not come to an end. But to which of the angels has he ever said, sit at my right hand until I put your enemies as a footstool for your feet? Are they not all ministering spirits sent to render service for the sake of those who will inherit salvation? Question, right? So this chapter 1. That's kind of cool. That's good to know, right? Interesting. Hebrews is lots of interesting. It's a very deep book, okay? And we will get into that, right? Today he was just talking about Jesus and his position as Lord above all, right? From the beginning. So there you go. I will put that link to Chuck Swindoll's Insight for Living, all right, overview of the book. And we'll start to, so it'll take about 2 weeks. There's 13 chapters, so it'll be a couple of weeks. So then we'll find something else to do. I just read the Bible. That's all I'm doing is reading the Bible, right? If you read along with me, welcome. So there you go. And tomorrow we'll continue. See you then.